Thank the council for inviting us, for allowing us to make this presentation. I also want to thank the council's subcommittee for monuments and memorials, Councilman Sohn, Deputy Mayor Katz, Councilman Castle, for the work that they've done preliminarily before our presentation. My name is Steve Fox. I'm a Teaneck resident. I also am a Teaneck businessman. I'm also the proud son of a Holocaust survivor who escaped the Warsaw Ghetto and spent 2 years in the Russian underground. And I'm also the co-chair of the Teaneck Holocaust Commemoration Committee, as well as the Teaneck Holocaust Memorial Committee. With me is Bruce Prince, who's the president of the Jewish Community Council of Teaneck, and also co-chair of the Teaneck Holocaust Memorial Committee. We are here to discuss establishing a Holocaust memorial in Teaneck, something that we've been here on 2 previous occasions, and now we are here in cooperation with the subcommittee of the council. This will be a public tribute to those who perished during the Holocaust, a lasting reminder of the horrors of genocide, and a lesson of tolerance for the future. Why do we need a Holocaust memorial? A Holocaust memorial is a place that people can sit and pay tribute to those who were killed during the war because of who they were. It was the worst type of ethnic cleansing and destroyed the lives of millions of men, women, and children. A Holocaust memorial is a place where families can dedicate a stone or plaque to descendants, many of who had no burial or whose bodies were in mass graves, someplace that we can take our children and our grandchildren and say, this was your grandfather, your great-grandfather. A Holocaust memorial is a place where children will learn history and discuss the lessons that we can learn from these terrible events. It's also a testament to the evils of racism and the importance of fighting intolerance in society. It's a way to assure the survivors that we will never forget the horrors that they experienced, and our way of saying, never again shall we let it happen. And in light of the recent developments in Europe, this project is more important now than it's ever been.
We've been asked many times throughout why we need a public memorial. Why not it be on some private lands? We need it to be public because we want it to be all of ours and not just those that house the memorial. We wanted to sort of stimulate or spark a discussion about what happened and how it's still happening, either by seeing it or by driving by. We need to have it accessible to everybody. It's a symbol of our town and our county's dedication to memorialize this event, and it transforms a small parcel of land for a sacred purpose, enhancing the area around it. Acknowledges a specific event and provides a foundation to learn from that event. We have who is the clicker? I have it? Okay. You have it over there, okay. Just want to know, okay. We've been asked also about why we need to have it in public land, but our research has shown that monuments of this type have all been done on, not all, but by and large all. And in Bergen County recently, I was very pleased to see an erection of a 7-foot, statue of Martin Luther King. The memorial is the work of our great civil rights leader. The statue is not on private land, not an FDU. It's a strip of the pathway that runs along FDU. And it stands there in recognition of the importance of having a public acknowledgement of this. Now, we have examples of things that we've seen, just to show you some variations. We don't know what the structure will look like yet. We're waiting to get input from you. And we show Boston as a glass structure with a sort of quiet sort of approach to what it is. New Orleans is a little more bright, probably in keeping with New Orleans. Portland, Oregon is as you see, a small stone on the ground representing what it is. And in Miami Beach, there's quite a large structure. I suppose recognition of the many Jewish residents in that part of the country as well. But it shows many layers of entering it, understanding it, and appreciating it. Sorry. Still mine? Okay, I'm still on, okay. Steve has composed other pictures as well for for others that have been done nearby, the Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, funded by the city of New York. We have also one in Ohio dedicated by the state as well, and a federal Days of Remembrance, I guess that's in Liberty Park? Yes. Liberty State Park, sorry. Memorial structure was commissioned by the state of New Jersey and sponsored by a coalition of veterans organizations. Teaneck has a history of tolerance and education. We know that. Teaneck was the first town to voluntarily integrate. It's a town that I came to for this reason, for my children to see other people living together, and we find this to be a fitting place for this memorial.
Okay, what we're proposing, and again, this image is only for spatial representation, because we haven't yet gotten the go-ahead. We haven't done the actual design yet, but this is just to give you some spatial representation. In conjunction with the Council's Monuments and Memorial Subcommittee, these are the recommendations that we've come together to do. We originally, as you know, had petitioned to do this memorial in Brett Park, and as per the subcommittee, they would like to develop, the council would like to develop the Teaneck Road side of the municipal green to be a place that would have our memorial and perhaps in the future other memorials. The approximate dimensions that we are discussing is about 900 square feet, 30 by 30, perhaps 12 feet high in certain areas. The elements are really two parts. Number one is tributary, where we would have place for people to pay tribute to those who were lost during the war or who were victims. And the other part is educational. We have, within the walls, we plan to have educational panels. We plan to have perhaps sculptures or other things that people will walk through this memorial, and they will understand, A, what happened during the Holocaust, and they'll also understand the terrible tragedy that this Holocaust and others bring forth. So there are two things that we're pushing here. One is, again, to pay tribute, and the other is to encourage schools, synagogues, churches from all over to come here. There is currently no major public Holocaust memorial in Bergen County, aside from something small, I believe, in the county. And this will bring school children, it'll bring organizations, it'll bring people here to learn about the Holocaust, and we believe that doing this project will be a benefit to the town and a benefit to our children as well. We have also, one of the other things educationally that we're planning to do is to have on each exhibit or on each panel QR codes that children could scan with or anybody can scan with their phones, which would take them to links to learn more about what they've just seen. So just like the internet today, as you have your first page as your ad, once you get to that first page, you can delve further into it by going to the links. So we plan to have this, even though it's an outdoor memorial, to have some technology attached to it that can take people more in depth. The inside areas, again, will have educational components, which we will further develop as we go on. Accessibility. Well, one of the things that we talk about when you talk about developing an area, and not, I guess, coincidentally after the presentation we just saw, is that when you develop an area, you just don't put a structure there. You have to have accessibility. One of the things that we discussed with the subcommittee members was that part of the issue here, and part of the issue that we initially were discouraged about, was that the parking area here is always taken during the day. You have so many people from the library, from the municipal building, from the police, parking here, the courts, etc. So we discussed, number one, having a drive around, which you can see sort of in that diagram on the right, from Teaneck Road, coming in to the green, which Could be a drop-off area, could be for senior citizens who can't walk very much. Drop them off, could be for buses from schools. Let them off and walk a few feet to the memorial. So that's one important thing. The other thing to keep in mind is that because the municipal green on the Teaneck Road, Cedar Lane side is not accessible at this point, this would invite people who use the bus stop, who have to come into this building, who will actually give the front of this building I guess, the honor that it deserves by actually using it. The other thing are designated parking areas. Again, when anybody puts up, whether it's in a synagogue or church, the council and the zoning board always says, well, where are you going to park? Where are you going to have people park? We believe that to make this memorial inviting and accessible to people, there has to be designated parking. And I know that we discussed this with the subcommittee, that there are ways that we will work with them, and they will work with you, to redistribute some of the parking lots in the area here so that there will be availability for people to come and park. And the fact that the library is here, we hope that the library will work in conjunction with the memorial so that school children can come here, look at the memorial, go to the library, read up more, and perhaps use the facilities if there's going to be any lecture or educational work being done over there. And again, this is something that the subcommittee has hoped, and I guess the council has hoped would be a model for establishing that side of the memorial, of the green, to be for our memorial, and perhaps in the future if other people are looking to do something similar.
So we would ask why you should approve this project, and we know that it will add prestige, it will add value to people to come here and visit. It will showcase Teaneck to the rest of the state, as well as the country, about promoting tolerance and education that we've seen in other places. The project will be a blessing to the township and an impressionable, meaningful place to visit for all. It will also be an affirmation of the diminishing numbers of Holocaust survivors who will see the Teaneck will be helping keep the memory of those alive long after they're gone. And we need to do this not just for the survivors, but for our children and for their children as well. And now is the time to do this. Okay, go for it.
Okay. Suggestions by our committee in conjunction with the subcommittee. Our committee will be responsible for raising funds for the memorial and its contents, architecturally, structurally, and such. The township, because it's again on township green property, will provide landscaping, pathways and lighting, and access to the educational facilities. Our committee, again, will be responsible for design and content, and we will work with the subcommittee, Councilman Sohn, Councilman Castle, Deputy Mayor Katz, to put this all together. And we hope that it all goes well, that we will be able to break ground in the spring of 2016.
So we ask that the council formally approve this project so that we may move forward as soon as we can. Upon approval, the next steps will be an educational subcommittee that will address the specific elements and content to our designers. Fundraising efforts will begin shortly thereafter, and we'll welcome grant writers and donors to participate in this extremely important process and venture. And we ask above everything else all of your partnership and your input. We discussed this before the last time we were here, that we needed to have a full complement of Teaneck residents to help support this. And with this, we ask that you approve it and discuss with us further. Thank you.
I just want to say one thing, that I hope that we can come back to you in a number of months. We will show you what we've come up with. And I hope that in a little more than a year, we can all look at this and say, we've done this together. It's a blessing for the community. It's a credit to the Township of Teaneck, and it will be a benefit for children and adults for many years to come. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that well put together presentation. And thank you for your commitment and perseverance in bringing this forth, not just to this governing body, but to previous governing bodies as well. I also like to thank Councilman Pruitt and Councilman Sohn for working together and coming up with a way in which we receive unanimous support in terms of having memorials and monuments on the municipal green. I think at this time, we need to work together to work out the details between the township and the committee. And I don't know if this is the appropriate forum for that to take place, of course, with the attorney's input. So what I would recommend, and I've had conversations with Councilman Sohn on this, is that we authorize the committee to work with the subcommittee as well as the manager and the attorney to find out what the next steps are.